Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IndieZoNe here on YouTube. My name is Kathy. If you look at the Latah County District Court case summary sheet for case number CR0124316665, this is the case styled as State of Idaho versus Kohberger, you will see that as of the 13th of December, that 3 additional items are on that case summary sheet. This is maintained by the clerk of court, documenting all the filings in the case. At the top of page 61, which is the last page of this summary sheet, on the 11th of December 2024, you'll see that there was a motion calendar hearing that was scheduled to occur at 2:30 p.m. before Judge Stephen Hippler. We've addressed this notice of hearing in a prior episode of our continuing series on the Kohberger case. It was a closed hearing. It was between the judge, apparently, and just the defense. It was ex parte. The State of Idaho did not even receive a copy of the hearing notice, at least per the certificate of service, which only had the 3 defense attorneys listed there as being served with a copy of that hearing notice. Well, as of the 13th, we now see under seal court minutes. Minutes are basically a contemporaneously maintained document that would say who was there, what the hearings were about, which we don't know because that notice of hearing referenced motions, plural, not motion, which is just one. Motions, plural, and also indicated that there would be live testimony by who we don't know at the hearing. So you'd have who appeared, what was discussed, if there was going to be any order that was being rendered, if the court ruled at the hearing, or if he reserved ruling. We've seen both of those things happen in this case, that an order would be rendered later. These are under seal. 12/11/24, court minutes, Judicial Officer Stephen Hippler. The next 2 items, supplemental request for discovery. This is the 20th supplemental request for discovery. 2 documents. One is under seal. One is not. So we should expect to see the supplemental request for discovery turn up on the record, hopefully Monday of next week. Then there is the request for discovery that's under seal. A couple of things noted here. First, the fact that this is the 20th supplemental request for discovery does not mean that Mr. Kohberger, this is the defense's filing, is asking for something 20 times. It's that there were 20 prior supplemental discovery requests to the initial discovery request that was filed in January of 2023. What is discovery? Discovery is information that Mr. Kohberger believes is in the possession, custody, or control of the state of Idaho, that he is making a formal request that they turn over, that he feels is relevant to the defense of his case. And we know from prior hearings and prior motions to compel discovery that sometimes there's a disagreement between the parties as to what is discoverable and what is not. They have to go to the judge, and the judge renders a ruling, like we saw happen in October of 2023 after the defense filed a motion to compel the IgG DNA evidence, that the prior court, Judge John Judge, rendered an order that certain of that information was to be turned over to the defense. So we see here 2 documents. What I'm anticipating, if the prior 19 supplemental discovery request, as well as the initial discovery request, using as a guide and continuing on the same path that we've seen all along, that supplemental request for discovery will look something like, we've served a 20th supplemental request for discovery. What we're asking for in Exhibit J or K or L, whatever letter they're going to be up to this time, is filed under seal. So, therefore, the public does not know what Mr. Kohberger is asking for in those supplemental discovery requests that followed the original, and now I'm anticipating that what this public document will be this 20th time is going to be referencing the document that's under seal. The request for discovery that you see a little key lock on is filed under seal. That's the substance of what's being asked. Now, similarly, the responses to all of these prior discovery requests are also under seal. So the public, from the beginning of the case, has not been let in, has not known what is being asked for in discovery and what has been turned over. We get some information during the hearings that have been public on motions to compel, but in terms of contemporaneous filing items, we have not seen one as of yet, and I'm anticipating, as I said, this 20th one is going to follow suit. Now, going back to the other item that's on the docket, the court minutes that are under seal from this hearing of the 11th of December, some are speculating, and unfortunately, because so much of this case is under seal, people are curious. They're wondering, could this have something to do with the matter that Ms. Taylor raised at the first case management conference that was held in September after the matter was transferred from Latah to Latah County? And I believe that if you go to the court's YouTube channel through the Latah County page that maintains information on the Kohberger case, if it's not still there, you can, there's a form there where you can order audio or other documents from the courts. There's a form you got to ask for. But those of you who did listen and watch that hearing will recall that at one point, Ms. Taylor stood up in open court, and this was on September 26th, 2024. First hearing set before Judge Hippler, case management conference that the judge set that day. Ms. Taylor stood up and said that she was functioning without a contract. And there was an ex parte hearing that we understood was going to take place after the public hearing, where presumably that matter was being discussed. So what some people are thinking is that it might have something to do with that, with costs necessary for the case in terms of defense counsel's contract and other matters. Now, I'd like to direct your attention to something that came out for the first time on October 9th, 2024. It is a request for appointment and transfer of case. This is from Judge Hippler. This is an order, and I want to read it to you right now. Prior to the transfer of the criminal case to this court, the Honorable District Judge Mark Monson, 2nd Judicial District, had been appointed to serve as the resource judge under ICR 12.2d, which was accomplished in Latah County by opening a sealed separate civil case. And the judge gives that case number, C as in Charlie, V as in Victor, 292328. This was the first time that I can recall, and I have been following this case for the IndieZoNe podcast, looking at every single document on the public record, that I recall seeing this, that there was a case that was opened and under seal in Latah County dealing with the criminal case. The order goes on. This court seeks to reestablish, that means to reappoint, Judge Monson as the resource judge for this criminal case and request that the Idaho Supreme Court transfer venue of Latah County case CV 292328 to Ada County. The court further requests that Judge Monson be assigned as an out-of-district resource, meaning Ada County, that is the 4th judicial district in Idaho. Latah was the 2nd. That's what the court's referring to. Out-of-district resource for the 4th district so that he can be reappointed to the resource judge case. Once it is transferred to Ada County, it is so ordered. This came several days after that case management conference of the 26th of September. This order, if you want to take a look at it, request for appointment and transfer of case, it is dated October 9th, 2024. Finally, I'd like to direct your attention to an article that Kevin Fixler, he's a journalist who's been covering the case for the Idaho Statesman, he reported that this is April 18th, 2024. At that point, exclusive Brian Kohberger case soars into millions in public costs ahead of his trial. And what Mr. Fixler did is he talks about a public records request that he served and that he found at that time that this case had already reached several millions of dollars in such cost as for Moscow police, for Idaho State Police, for Latah County, for other resources, and he also includes such things as the Othram bill that was generated. This is the Texas lab that did or attempted to do some testing on the IgG DNA. He's got a copy of that bill in this article. So I definitely recommend that if you have some interest in that case, to take a look. It has some fascinating information. And he also references that Judge Monson had been appointed to be the resource judge looking over the case in terms of cost. So I'm going to give my opinion here, ladies and gentlemen, as both a citizen, as a podcaster under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, freedom of speech and of the press. I continue to be baffled at what I call Mount Everest of documents that are under seal in this case. It has been over 2 years since the 4 students were horribly attacked at 1122 King Road. Their families' lives permanently changed, friends, the lives that they would have snuffed out in an instant. No children, no grandchildren, no careers, nothing. Mr. Kohberger was arrested on the 30th of December, 2022. This is almost 2 years, and the public still has not seen a single discovery request, even redacted. Is it possible that every single email that's been submitted that the court, Judge Hippler, talked about in the order, ordering the defense to resubmit the Franks motion, requesting the Franks hearing that we just covered in the last episode of the IndieZoNe, he talked about emails regarding suspect vehicle 1 being resubmitted. Is it possible that not one of those emails, redacted for whatever information they feel needs to be sealed from the public, couldn't have been released? That all this video they have of suspect vehicle 1, there's not a portion of it showing an intersection or a garbage can or a tree that could not have been released to the public? The public's never seen suspect vehicle 1, not an official photo of it. There's a lot of speculation that Linda Lane video or a video from a gas station still is suspect vehicle 1, but no one has ever seen an official video, still image of suspect vehicle 1. There's so much that's behind seal. What I truly do not understand is why are the costs of the case under seal? Ladies and gentlemen, everything, as Mr. Fixler talks about here, this is taxpayer dollars that go to pay for a case. The taxpayers can't go behind seal when that tax bill comes, they have to pay for the case. I do not understand why there was a secret case that was opened up in Latah County and a judge appointed to look at costs that the taxpayers are paying for. Why is that information under seal? I'd like to hear your thoughts regarding this topic, the secrecy of the case that continues, and hopefully we'll start getting some answers here very soon as to why the state of Idaho feels that Brian C. Kohberger, who is presumed innocent at every stage of this case, under the law, until or unless he either pleads or is adjudicated guilty, why is it that the state of Idaho feels that he is the sole and the correct defendant in this case? My name is Kathy. Thank you very much for joining us here today.